things to watch out for when you're buying a G Wagon. I don't do a lot of content about the W460, 461, and 463 Geländewagen, otherwise known as a G Wagon. But I've decided that there's no better time than now and no better place than here, because these trucks are the next Land Rover Defender. They're going to be flooded. The market in the United States is going to be flooded with them soon. And there are going to be thousands of them for sale because now they're easy to import. So we're going to talk about, I would say, 5 major things you need to be aware of when you're buying a G truck. Number 1, worn out engines. The G was heavy. It was not aerodynamic either. And so the engines that powered it were all passenger car engines. And they were not designed for a heavy, not very aerodynamic, kind of cumbersome, low-geared SUV to be driven at highway speeds. But that's what happened. Now, if you live in the bush and you're driving a 240 GD at 15 to 30 miles an hour all day, climbing rocks and hills and all this stuff, the truck does fine in its natural environment, and so does the engine. It's when you're going down the road and you say, I need to do 70, and the engine is basically wound up at 70. Why is this such a big problem? Well, because engine wear is a function of the amount of stress the engine has to go through. So if if you have a 240D and the engine is being driven at 75, 80 miles an hour all day, it's under a lot more stress because of the high RPM, so therefore it's going to wear out faster. If you add 5 people and a trunk full of luggage, basically you're a Greek taxi driver in the late 80s, your engine's going to wear out. The G Wagon was basically hauling around a bunch of extra mass and weight in a not very aerodynamic package. And all of the engines used on this car that were not the M104 or the M117, there aren't many of those, or the OM606 were under a high workload, whether it was a 603 or a 617 turbo or a 616, a 602, an M110, an M102, even an M103. Although the M103, I'd say, is probably the best equipped to handle the workload of a G truck. Most of those trucks do not do well unless they're like a short wheelbase, extra lightweight truck that's driven at 55, 60 miles an hour. They're just not high-speed trucks. So you need to perform an engine oil analysis because the engines are very likely worn out. It doesn't mean they can't be fixed. It doesn't mean you should do an engine swap. Just be prepared to have to do major engine work. Number 2, structural rust. Most people do not check these things well enough for structural rust, but they will rust anywhere and everywhere, particularly towards the back end. They'll rust under the rear door. They'll rust in the roof. They'll rust above the rear wheels. They'll rust in the rocker panels. The floors will rust through. Anything around the front windshield will also rust. And yes, they do get some frame rust. The worst part is when the body mounts rust, because then the body's not correctly attached. So if you are buying one of these things, you cannot buy it on the internet. You must go look at it in person, crawl underneath it, and extensively inspect it, because most resellers will buy these trucks with rust and then never fix them. Now people say, Pierre, where does the truck have to be from for it to not have rust? Usually it's from, if it's from southern Italy, Spain, or Portugal, it'll be okay unless it's lived by the ocean. But even climates like Japan that are perceived as mild climates are actually not that mild. Any kind of salt air, road salt, extensive humidity will rust a G Wagon out. They are notorious for rust. In fact, their propensity to rust is so bad that you should be spraying them with Cosmoline both inside and out to keep them from rusting. A third major problem with these trucks, electrical systems. These trucks did not use the same electrical connectors as the traditional Mercedes product throughout the car. Most of the interior electricals are plugged in using spade connectors like a Volvo. On top of that, there's not a clear wiring diagram. So if you're buying one of these trucks, you need to inspect the electrical system and make sure that it has not been hacked up or heavily modified to accommodate for things that just didn't work right. That means you have to go under the dash, you have to look, inside the center console area where all the controls are. You need to be looking under the hood if the car is air or the truck has air conditioning, along the back firewall, around the fuse box for damaged wiring or heavily repaired wiring. You should also look under the truck where there are any cables routed, such as to the fuel pump or the rear lamps, because again, they're not well made in that department. The later 463 trucks were a lot better. So starting in 1990, if you got something like a 350 GD, if the engine is not hopelessly worn out, the wiring system or the electrical system should be a lot better because eventually they started using correct Mercedes connectors. But if you're looking at a W460, 461, or even an early 463, this is a big problem. Number 4, drive shafts. Drive shaft U-joints on these trucks have a very high workload, and yes, they do fail. You must test drive the truck. Why? Because when these things go bad at 35 miles an hour, you will have a vibration that will rattle your teeth out. And it's never just the rear drive shaft. You must do all the drive shaft U-joints, or at least do the ones in the front drive shaft and the rear drive shaft. This is a big problem. And on top of that, if the axles in the front, they use like a sealed portal axle or leaking a bunch of grease, you will have to deal with those issues as well. Usually this happens because the CV joints inside the front axles run in an encased tube. Then the boots rupture. Then, of course, pandemonium ensues because grease starts mixing with the axle oil, and it'll start getting splattered everywhere. So that's something to take care of or to think about as well. Okay, now number 5, the last thing that I want to bring up about these trucks is that their interiors were often redone to make them look more attractive. Instead of the basic Spartan cloth seats, basic door panels, they would often get tarted up inside to try to come off more like a W463 and less like a 460. And so when you look at some of these interior upgrades, you need to make sure that they were done well. They didn't just spray glue on a headliner. They didn't just reupholster over some worn out seats with blown up springs. The interior, like the dash and the plastic panels and all of that plastic stuff that you look at, hasn't been, haphazardly repaired with a tube of super glue. One of the reasons that this is so prevalent on the G trucks is because whenever somebody comes in and tries to redo an interior, they're not just making the truck nicer, they're making it harder to repair. They're making it much, much harder to actually get to the root of all the problems. I think the overall message I have for you, my subscribers, is this. If you're buying one of these trucks, you need to inspect it in person. It's not optional like a 30,000 mile 560 SL. You cannot trust the resellers or the importers. They will lie to you. Usually people will add air conditioning systems and they're not added well. Usually the trucks will have serious mechanical issues that get pushed under the rug. And because you've had the truck shipped all the way to you, you just go, oh, well, I guess I'm going to have to live with it. It's an old truck. Don't do that. Do your due diligence and do a lot of it. Get engine oil analyses and compression tests. Inspect the camshafts. Take a look at things like do an oil analysis on the transfer case. The trucks are pretty good as long as they're not abused, but you have to fix the abuse because they're 40 or 50 years old. People always expect everything to work perfectly. It doesn't. It's got some miles under the belt. You've got to go back and fix all this stuff if you want a perfect functioning truck. Okay, well, I hope you guys like this video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and do your homework before buying any classic Mercedes, whether it's a G truck, a Unimog, or even a 123. See you in the next video.
Hedary.